beasts, aren't they? Chuffed to bits. The smallest little thornback. I'll just concentrate on not losing the rod over the side. And its eyes. It's got amazing eyes. Doggy in the boat. Golden mullet. There's a bit of weight to that, you know. And that's what we want, don't we? We don't want the same all the time. We want something different, a good old show. Hello and welcome to the channel. And the little Gurnard. Look at that for a stunner. You can't see the blue on his fins, but you can see his amazing eye. Look at that. Rods have been in for about 10 minutes. Little twinkle twangle. And here we go. One little Gurnard. I'm going to have to raise. But a Gurnard is welcome. Right, I'm going to get him back in. That was on double sand eel and squid on an up and over 6 ounce weight, meant for race. I'm after a smaller. That's what I'm fishing for. Lots to talk about. New rods, new reels, new tripod, new rigs, new venue. So I'm fishing just past the golf course, Barton on Sea. So there's all the big sandy cliffs behind me. Fishing low water, turner low, and the initial flood. Tide's not playing ball today actually, because tide table says it should have been low water 2 hours ago and it's still going out. Yeah, so what have we got? We have got Any Fish Anywhere Match Pros teamed up with Fathom 12 SDs. Got to make sure I get this stuff right. 15-pound mainline or 14-pound AFAW Ultraflex, 15 to 60-pound shock leader, 6 ounce weight. I'm fishing either, I'm rotating 3 rigs, I've got 2 up and overs, and I've got a pulley. I'm hoping it's going to fish this next hour, hour and a half. That's what I'm hoping for. I burnt through a little bit of bait because I was casting and I wasn't fishing. I was playing with new rods. But this last set have gone out how I wanted them to fish. 1 pulley rig, 1 up and over. And they've been in the water about 10 minutes. 10 minutes and little croaker came along. The sea is really noisy. Yesterday was a big storm and tomorrow we're off to Chesil. This was just to get the kit out and try it. I could have gone casting down the field or down the beach just to try and get myself used to the new kit. But then I thought, I might as well wet a line. And I got myself a Gurnard. Right. I'll shift you over, I'll show you the rigs, show you a bait up. So here we go then. Oh, what have we got? Make my knees comfortable. Not the best thing kneeling on the shingle. So this is an up and over. The rig body is about 3 feet long, 6 ounce grip lead, Gemini Solo splashdown, and I've taken this one right back to basics. There's nothing to it. It's your standard running leisure between 2 beads, and the top end is I use. I can't remember which Gemini clip that one is, but that's the one with the kinked end onto a swivel. 140 pound stainless steel swivel. So let's get all of the junk in the trunk out of the way. And this is the business end. So that's the bait that, believe it or not, just came back out of that Gurnard. He swallowed it whole, absolutely inhaled it. But worth a mention, that was the disgorger that got it out. So I do like these for what I would class as smaller species. Got T-bars and got a whole selection inside the case. So you can use things like T-bars and disgorgers, and I will use a wire if I have to. Use a crochet hook. Any number of things. Flounder wire. Oh, and a standard sort of whiting. So there's a whole arsenal of methods to get a fish unhooked, and it depends on the species, I think, which one's the best. But that was what I used for that one. So now we're into mustard scissors. Absolutely love them. In fact, I don't think these are mustard because you get cedra. This mustard have stopped making them, or have lost the license, or something or other, because I can't get a hold of a pair of mustard bait scissors, but they look exactly the same. So there's obviously some kind of licensing thing going on, I think, possibly. So that bait was, and I don't even know what these are called. I'll have a look on the packet. I went to Christchurch angling before I got to the beach because it's local to here. Always better off going to the local tackle shop, I suppose, to get local bait, or what they know catches local. No point buying your bait in Southampton to fish in Blackpool if the stuff don't eat it. Just keeping an eye on my rods. Lovely the way they sit in the tips. If you're wondering why I've changed, I change quite regularly anyway because I like experimenting. These are riot baits, and it doesn't even tell you what they are actually. It doesn't tell you what they are. It's just a little silver fish. It's a little silver fish. Right, what else we got in here? I need a scrap of squid. What did I just do with that? I just lost my fish. Oh, I flicked it off the lid. Clean flicked it off. Right. I was looking all confused then, wasn't I? Here we go. So that is now defrosted and is very soft, which is why it's going to get backed up with a piece of squid. So I'm just going to lay that on its back, press it down slightly. Get a grip of my fine latex, and it is latex, and I was struggling to remember who made this one before, and I think it's Tronics Pro. Tronics Pro bucket, Tronics Pro latex. I bought the fine, medium and strong of this stuff. I do like using it. I do buy it myself, and I'm not sponsored, so it is my own money. Yeah, I'm not trying to push it, I just like it. So this fish now, this silver fish, is basically thawed out and is actually very difficult to manhandle. They're a lot easier to use when they're still frozen, which is why some people keep them in like a little flask, you know, the soup flasks. You can keep them inside one of those, just to help. And then I've already chopped bits out of that. I'm going to use all of that one. I'm going to make a bit of a bomb up, because I think this is when we're going to fish now. Hook it on, lay it over the back, wrap it, but I don't want all that head end, so I'm going to cut that out. I don't want that. I don't want that bigger bait. I'm after the distance here, not close in volume. With my clumsy casting, I need all the help I can get. Right, we'll work that down the back. So that hook is in theory sandwiched inside between the squid and the fish. And I've got to concentrate on this little bit because the pennel hook is going to go. It's a Varivas 3.0. In fact, that's a 2.0, I can tell, just looking at it. That's a 2.0 BMX at the end, and it's a BMP, big mouth pennel, for the pennel. And the pennel hook, bring it down, has already got bent into the shank, the kink, the little kink that makes it sit nicely on the line. You take 3 turns through the whole thing and back out, tighten into it, and then I just like to put a tiny little bit, all those haters of latex and elastic, I'm kind of screaming at the screen, but that just keeps the bait straight. Where's my cloth gone? I've put it down. Oh, behind me. Okay. So that's what we got. And then to tidy it all up, I'm not going to hang this on the tripod because it's quite windy today and it will wind dry it out. I'm going to put it back in the bucket. But You hang it and clip it into the solo splashdown. It all sits nice and true, and then when you come to use it, it'll be a case of hanging it onto the Gemini clip, and that's what it will be. That goes onto your shock leader and that gets fired out. I don't know if you can see, but that's quite a nice streamlined bait. Should be able to get some distance with that. What I'm going to do now is just put that back in the bucket. I'm putting stuff down today and I can't see anything. I'm going blind. Alright, lay that inside there for the next bait up, for the next changeover. And then when I'm ready, I'll just swap them over. What I am going to go do quickly is go and get a bucket of water. Now the tide is a little bit safer. It wasn't safe to go down to the water's edge earlier. The tide is out. I'm going to get some water in my bucket. And I can wash my hands. It's a stunning piece of coastline along here. As you can see, the tide's out, waves are working. This is the remnants, that's easy for you to say. This is the remnants of yesterday's storm. Yeah, trying out new kit. So you may wonder, why have you bought new rods, Mark? What's wrong with the 6 and baits? Absolutely nothing. Just a bit too much rod for my normal fishing. That's what I found. I'm nipping off to my tackle box because I'm going to go and get a reel. And the reels, the Fathom Casting Specials, have a lot of inertia. That's the best thing I can do to describe it. When you look at, when you look at how much reel, how much spool there is on a casting special, that's a whole lot of stuff you've got to get going. When you compare them side to side to the 12s, not the 15s, the 12s, there's a whole lot less inertia needed. The spool is so much lighter. I can feel it in the cast. So there's going to be some people that screw their noses up, and I'm the first to admit I'm a rubbish caster. But I did some practice casts with plain lead earlier without any real effort. And I was getting 125, 130 yards. You're like, well, how can you tell if you're casting there? Well, one full revolution of the reel is 30 inches. One full revolution of a casting special is 33. On a Fathom 12 is 30. And I did 149 winds, which is times that, do the conversion. It was 125, 126 yards. And that was the one that I could be bothered to count. And I did cast a little bit further once I got comfortable. I got the clickers halfway on those. I degreased them last night, took the shields out, watched Dean Booker on the Veals channel, degreased the bearings, took the shields out, 1 drop of oil, yellow rocket oil, and ran them out this morning. And I can tell the difference straight away. The difference, I brought this with me so that I could do a comparison. I cast a couple with this and then swapped over, and straight away they were less effort. Less effort for more distance. So there's nothing wrong with these. These are brilliant. I'm taking these to Norway. Just keep an eye on my rods. This is the part of the tide I expect it to happen. Yeah, taking these to Norway. Most likely, depending on how these fish, I'm not sure whether I'm going to take the Match Pros or the 6 and baits. The 6 and baits are heavier rods, heavier duty rods, I would say. But yeah, so new rods, reels, and because I've gone lighter spool, smaller spool, I've gone down in line size and I've lined it with the AFAW Ultracast. £14. So I'm doing 15 to 60 pound shock leader, 6 ounce weight maximum, which is the weight rating of the rod. I think the rod's rated at 4 to 6 or 5 to 6 ounces plus bait. There's stuff going on, but I think it's waves bouncing. Yeah, stunning part of the beach. Chuffed to nuts with my rods. I'll be out fishing with them again tomorrow from the big beach. Going to fish this session more as an acquaint to the rods. We've looked at the up and over rig. When the pulley rig comes in and swaps over, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing with that. And we'll do a slightly different bait setup where I will show you a double sand eel and squid. Instead of a silver fish, I don't know what the fish is. Was it a sardine? Is it a I don't know. It's an ickle fish as far as I'm concerned. With squid. I've got some nice little sand eels that I got from Christchurch Angling. So that's the reason why I popped in there. I knew sand eel is the bait locally to here, and I thought he would have some. But yeah, so we're just waiting for something else. Chuffed to bits, that little Gurnard. I don't care what they are, big or small. I love them all. I'd love a ray. If I pull a ray out of here today, it's going to be a small eye. That would be my gamble, my bet. But with all this stormy weather and with that sea that you can see behind us, possibility of a bass. And pretty much anything else. The water is really coloured, really stirred up, and everything is moving. It's quite a big tide as well. So I'm hoping at the bottom of the tide, at that slack, rigs will settle, not get turbulent and thrown around. They'll settle. Crittles will come in, grab it, and we'll get it, eh? We'll get it and see if we can catch it on camera. So, weed is turning into a problem. This is the last pulley rig that I mentioned. I'm fishing 2 up and overs. There's 2 up and overs that are out at the moment. So the 3 rig rotation at the moment is with the pulley rig back in for baiting up. Just check everything. It's all a lot of weed, a lot of grit. Beauty of a bucket of water, especially things like your bait clips. I know you could just go down to the water's edge and dip it, but I've got it here. Just make sure everything's free running. You don't want a bait out there that's all locked up to your weight. Okay. So this is the pulley rig. 3.5 foot roughly, just as a quick ready reckoner. I think I made it to 4 foot measured on the bench, and it ended up being 3.5 foot once you've done the knots and the bits and pieces. I didn't want to do that, did I? It's not going to be 3 foot now. Oh dear. Thought it was cutting elastic then. Right, take that in my rubbish bag. Tie that back on. Just reduced it by 3 inches. If I'm quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. I want to get this one prepped because I don't think I'm going to be fishing much longer. That weed is turning into a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So this might be my last baits, last cast. But we'll get this pulley rig baited up and out, and we'll do a double sand eel this time. So we have got a bag with some nice sand eels in. They're nice, but they are quite small, and a piece of squid. So that's what we're looking at. Put that inside there. Keep it out of the sun and the wind. Managed to dampen my cloth. Okay, so you can go head and tail, you can go top and tail. You know, you have them facing both ways, you can have them facing the same way. You can have belly and back. You know, people have their own personal preferences. I'm just going to put them side by side. Fine latex elastic. I know I'm repeating myself, but people do ask these questions. Try and keep the baits parallel and not like a banana, I think is the best description, because they can if you're not careful, I don't know, it's the way the elastic goes on it, but anyone that's tried this will know exactly what I'm talking about. You can put these on a needle as well to help keep them straight. I am in a hurry and I'm sacrificing presentation for speed. Okay, so that's quite a large BMX. I pulled this one out of the rig wallet. I think that might be a 3.0 BMX. And the BMP is the big mouth panel. So make sure that your hook doesn't come past the end of your bait, so it doesn't get all snagged up. Elastic, I always, and I'm probably repeating myself, but I always concentrate on the knot in the eye. If you get some elastic round there, you're pretty much golden for everything else. And then sometimes just the wrappy wrap around the hook shank. Just because family's out walking, it's nice to hear. Kids enjoying themselves. Okay, right. So we've got the hook. Take out the middle piece. Don't need that. That funny little plasticky looking thing, which I know isn't plastic. Hook point through the very tip and then turn it around. Make sure the line comes out as it should. At the top by the tail, we'll take some wraps on that to make sure it's secure. And then wrap the body. And I just go loose and wide to start with. Actress said to the bishop, or bishop said to the actress. And then work it to the top. Once you know it's positioned and it's trapped, then you can go all out crazy. And I'm looking for the bulges in the bait to put a line around the bulge, so there's not like figure of 8 shape where there's just little tight bits and then massive great big bulges sticking out. I'm trying to make all of the wraps overlap each other. Keep that hook point totally clear. Oh, clicking on my, that must be weed, I think. Just get this done quickly before I lose rig and get washed out. So I'm just concentrating up by the tail now, just to get some on there. Got to be quick now because I think I've just picked up some weed on one of my rigs. And that is going to be the bane of this session now. I think that might call it quits. We might fish this one out and be done. Right, so we bring down our pennel, our big mouth pennel, which is a 2.0. I always tend to go for the pennel one size smaller than the main hook, and then going in through the body and out through the back in the opposite direction the other one. Just think, there's nothing scientific in that. I think whichever way the fish grabs that, from whichever direction, he's going to get a hook point. Whether it's the top of the bait, the bottom of the bait, or front or back. Everywhere is going to have a hook point. Okay, so we're done. Rough and ready. There it is. Hook point showing either side. The pulley rig itself. And that's ready to go on the next one out. I'm going to check that one that's just gone crackers. I think I've just picked up a load of weed. Right, I'm going to sort this out. So I've got one rod out, the other rod's just come in, loaded with weed. I've just spent the last 10 minutes picking all it off the line, cleaning up the rig, doing other bits and pieces. I'm going to have that one in, get this out of the way. I'm going to have that one in and go home. I'm going to make a brew, coffee in the back of the van, so I've got a travel cup for driving home. It's about an hour's drive in this traffic, and setting up ready for tomorrow morning on the big beach. So tomorrow we're at Chesil. I'll give the rods a proper workout on that one. And this one's picked up weed. I can see the tips bouncing around and it's dragging off the spool. So I'm going to sort this rod out. I'm going to pack up and get myself home. So from me, from here, for now, it's goodbye. Tight lines, happy fishing. See you again soon. Bye for now.